inter-county, regional, or even international concerns or matters. This afternoon, the Honorable Member for Kisumu Central, Honorable Joshua Oron, will request a statement from the Administration and Internal Security Committee with regards to delay in operationalization of administrative units in Kisumu Central. The Honorable Member for Garsen, Honorable Ali Wario Guyo, will request for statement from the Finance and National Planning Committee with regards to status of projects under the Equalization Fund in Garsen. The Honorable Member for Nyaribari Masaba, Honorable Dr. Daniel Manduku, will be requesting for a statement regarding stalled road project in Nyaribari Masaba. And this is a statement that will be forwarded to the relevant committee, that is the Transport and Infrastructure Committee. And there are also statements that were earlier on sought and this afternoon are expected to get responses to with regards to that, of course, from the relevant committees where the statements were forwarded to. And the Honorable Members, Jerry Miner's statement that was forwarded to the Committee on Administration and Internal Security. This is from the Honorable Member for Kirinyaga County on murder of Mr. Derek Gashoki at Kiandai Shopping Center in Kirinyaga. One of the statements that this afternoon is set to be responded to. But as you can see, that is the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Dr. Moses Wetangula, already in the chambers. He will be presiding over this afternoon sitting. Allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast brought to you by PBU in partnership with KBC. Good afternoon.
Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, ambaye kwa hekima na wema wako umetuoa nyadhifa za viongozi na mabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala wa haki wanadamu. Tukusihi utazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao wameridhika kutekeleza shughuli muhimu za jamhuri yetu. Tunakuomba uteremshie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayofikisha mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako ziendelezwe na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Sergeant, ring the quorum bell.
Well, the prayer has been said and the chair taken, but the House has not yet quorated for it to commence its business. It is a House of rules and has to abide by those rules. So pursuant to the provisions of the House Standing Order, at least 50 members should be inside the chambers for the House. All right, that is the signal from the Sergeant at Arms that the quorum has been achieved. I will now hand you over to the proceedings of the National Assembly this afternoon. Good afternoon.
Quorum. Okay.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members, you also note that we have a supplementary order paper in circulation. That is the order paper that we'll be using for for business this afternoon. Parashina, take the nearest seat. Honourable members, allow me to recognize 3 different delegations that are in the Speaker's row. The first one is a delegation from the Transitional National Legislature of South Sudan, the newest republic in the world. Honourable members, I'm pleased to introduce to you a delegation from Public Accounts Committee of the Transitional National Legislature of South Sudan, seated in the Speaker's row. They are 1, the Honourable Justin Joseph Marona MP, Chairperson and Leader of Delegation, the Honourable Henry Omai Akolawin MP, the Honourable Bidali Moses Onesimo MP, the Honourable Joseph Ojuk Ikarak MP, the Honourable Peter Shabak Gatluak MP, the Honourable Joy Kwaje Eluzai MP, the Honourable Majok Mading Dier MP. Honourable members, the delegation is accompanied by 1 parliamentary staff and is on a benchmarking tour to learn best practices and share experiences with their counterparts in the National Assembly's Public Accounts Committee. On my behalf and on behalf of the National Assembly, I extend a warm welcome to the delegation and wish them fruitful engagements and an enjoyable stay in our great country. Honourable members, the next delegation to recognize is a delegation from the National Assembly of the Republic of the Gambia in West Africa. Those of you who don't know where Gambia is a piece of island in Senegal, touching on the Atlantic. Honourable members, I wish to introduce to you a delegation comprising members of the Committee on Gender, Children and Social Welfare in the National Assembly of the Republic of the Gambia, who are seated in the Speaker's row. They are Fatumata Njai, Head of Delegation, Ami Kole, Fatu K. Jawara, they're all honorable, Honorable Maimuna Sise, Honorable Sawaibu Ture, Honorable Keba T. Sane, Honorable Abdullahi Sise, Honorable Omar Jobe, Honorable Omar Jamne, Honorable Sane Jawara, Honorable Samba Jalo, and Honorable Aleu Balde. Honorable members, the delegation is accompanied by 3 technical staff and 1 development partner of the National Assembly of the Republic of the Gambia. The delegation is in the country on a study to understand the role and impact of women representatives in light of Kenya's constitutional provisions regarding women representation and gender-sensitive legislation. On my behalf and on behalf of the National Assembly, I welcome them to the National Assembly and wish them fruitful engagements. The last delegation to recognize honorable members is a delegation attending the 2024 World Scout Parliamentary Union Executive Committee meeting in Nairobi. Honorable members, I'm pleased to introduce to you a delegation comprising of the executive members of the World Scout Parliamentary Union seated in the Speaker's row. They are Honorable Gyu Bak An, President, World Scout Parliamentary Union and member of the National Assembly of Korea, leader of the delegation. Honorable Dael Chul Pak, member of World Scout Parliamentary Union and member of the National Assembly of Korea. Honorable Jan Zietzi, that one is difficult. Zizak, member of the Executive Committee, and member of the National Assembly of Poland. The delegation, accompanied by 3 staff of the Parliamentary Union, is attending the 2024 Global Executive Committee meeting of the World Scout Parliamentary Union to be held at the National Assembly of Kenya today, 19th November 2024. On my behalf and that of the National Assembly, I welcome them to Parliament and wish them fruitful engagement. I thank you. KJ, 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you, and I thank you for your hospitality in hosting this very esteemed delegation. To also bring to your attention that in the delegation, we also have the Honorable Steve Kent, who is a former Member of Parliament for Canada, in Canada, who is also part of this delegation. And Mr. Speaker, the World Scout Parliamentary Union is a caucus that you are the patron of, and it has great membership in this house, and they have had the opportunity to enjoy Kenyan hospitality. They have been able to visit the scouting city of the world, which is Nyeri. They have also been able to be hosted by members of parliament, including the Honorable Charles Nguna, CNN, the Honorable Doris Donya, and all the other members of the esteemed committee of the World Scout Parliamentary Union. Mr. Speaker, to the Executive Committee, it is to just welcome them to the Kenyan Parliament, and all the deliberations that we have had on legislating for the youth, for the future, for technology, and even for humanity are going to be prosecuted on this house, on the floor of this house. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to welcome this delegation. Asante sana.
Thank you, Honorable KJ. Honorable members, order. Honorable members, the House Business Committee has met this afternoon and directed an adjustment of our sitting times. And at the end of this, the majority leader has been directed by the Speaker to bring a procedural motion to effect those changes. Because of the backlog of work, and we are cascading towards the end of this session, we have agreed in House Business Committee that you will sit as follows. On Monday, morning and afternoon. On Monday afternoon and evening, you'll sit twice on Monday from 2:30 to 6:30 and from 6:30 to 9, depending on the availability of members and business to transact, we may extend up to the end of the day. Tuesday morning, Thursday morning, and Friday morning and afternoon next week. On the following week, you'll again sit the whole week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, before we break to head to Mombasa for Iyala Games. And I invite you members to be in Mombasa for the friendly games of the East African region, where the parliaments of the 8 East African countries of Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, DR Congo, Republic of South Sudan, and Republic of Somalia will be there, and our colleagues from Mombasa, we encourage you to lay out a good welcome for your colleagues both in Kenya and from the region. I did direct, and I want to repeat, order, Honorable Kajwang, order. Part of your business in this house is not to shake hands with colleagues. Honorable members, as much as we possibly can on cost-cutting measures, you will, including yours truly, travel to Mombasa by SGR. So you will organize with the clerk's office and the table office. The clerks will assist you to indicate when you want to travel. You will all go by SGR, including Mr. Speaker, to cut down on costs so that we can be able to facilitate as many of you as possible to come to Mombasa and participate in the games. As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those dissenting say nay. Nay. The ayes have it. Order. Order. The call for division is unlawful. Next order. Yes, Zamzam.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, nachukua fursa hii kuwakaribisha wabunge wote wa bunge hili la 13 katika kaunti ya Mombasa. Mje mjienjoy, mtuletee biashara katika kaunti yetu Mheshimiwa Spika, na nachukua fursa hii kukushukuru sana kuweza kukaa na kamati andalizi ili kuweza kuamua michezo ya East Africa iweze kuja Mombasa. Mheshimiwa Spika, umetupa hadhi kubwa kama wakazi wa Mombasa, na kama mama Mombasa nasema karibuni nyote, na East Africa nzima karibuni nyote, na mimi nitawaandalia madafu, mje mfurahi, mjienjoy na tulete ushindi nyumbani. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Mele.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank Honorable Zamzam for inviting us to Mombasa. And I want to just declare that because she's spoken in Kiswahili, we don't all have to speak in Kiswahili. Having said so, Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to say, Mr. Speaker, that I would wish to thank you for even acknowledging the delegations that have been here, that are visiting us. And Mr. Speaker, there are very many of my friends from the Gambia who are visiting. And they honored me when I went to the Gambia. So it was just important for me to also just acknowledge my friends who are visiting from the Gambia. And also because I'm also in the friendship group with Honorable Shakil, with the China group, I also just wish to welcome all the delegations that are here. Thank you.
You'll also tell them that their former Attorney General called Ami Bensouda,
yes,
was my classmate at the law school. Yes, not this Bensouda. This Bensouda was not in any law school. Yes, yes, Muya. Kajwang, was she in any law school? Yes, Muya.
Honorable Speaker, Mheshimiwa Speaker, vile Mama Zamzam amewaeleza wabunge, anawakaribisha kule Mombasa, na mimi kama mwenyekiti wa mambo ya Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki nataka kuwaeleza wabunge wenzangu wajitolee kwenda kule Mombasa, washiriki na wabunge, na wajue kule tuna wabunge kutoka bunge 8 tukiwa pamoja na bunge ya Somali. Hata hivyo Mheshimiwa Speaker, namuona majority leader anacheka kwa sababu nimesema ni mwenyekiti. Hata kama nitasema mimi ni mwenyekiti kwa wakati huu, nataka kusema niko mwenyekiti kwa wakati huu kabla sijatolewa. Nachukua nafasi kuwakaribisha ili waweze kuona. Na kwa kizungu, Bwana Speaker, tunasema katika jumuiya tunashirikiana kwa kudeepen na kuwiden the integration.
You are wrong. It is called deepen, widen, and tighten. The integration of East Africa. Next order. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in the spirit of widening, deepening, and tightening, I would like to welcome the visitors and also welcome the members, not only to Mombasa, but also to Kilifi, which is neighboring. I think we have very good accommodation and very good people in Kilifi and in Mtwapa. You know, Mtwapa is in Kilifi. You know, they don't know that, Honorable Speaker. Yeah, very good people in Mtwapa. Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. One, financial year 2024-2025, additional expenditure granted under Article 223 of the Constitution from the National Treasury. Two, annual report of the state of the judiciary and the administration of justice for the financial year 2023 and 2024 from the judiciary. Three, the quarterly economic and budget review for the first quarter of the financial year 2024-2025 from the National Treasury. Four, reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2023, 30th June 2022, 30th June 2023, and the certificates therein in respect of Gachie High School, Thika High School, St. Anne's Secondary School, Gatei Mixed Secondary School, Gakoi Mixed Secondary School, and Giakanja High School, Boys High School. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to lay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Chairperson, Select Committee on Member Services and Facilities. Karani. Honorable Karani.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 19th November 2024, the report of the Select Committee on Member Services and Facilities on an inspection visit to constituency and county offices in Kilifi, Kwale, Mombasa, Laikipia, Nyandarua, and Machakos counties.
Chair, Select Committee on Regional Integration, Wanjiku.
Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba takriban unipe dakika 2 nifanye mazungumzo na clerk.
Wanjiku, you have told me that you wanted to move your motion in Kiswahili, to give notice in Kiswahili.
Ndiyo, Mheshimiwa Spika.
It's written in English. I'll permit you to give notice in English, but direct on the Hansard that when you move the motion when it comes, you can do so in Kiswahili, so that you save our time.
Asante Mheshimiwa Speaker, and I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 19th November 2024. This is the report of the Committee on Regional Integration on the inspection visit to the semi-autonomous institutions of the East African Community and Central Corridor in the United Republic of Tanzania. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay.
Thank you, Wanjiku. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
The Chairperson, Committee on Members' Services, Karani.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Select Committee on Member Services and Facilities on the inspection visit to constituency and county offices in Kilifi, Kwale, Mombasa, Laikipia, Nyandarua, and Machakos County, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 19th November 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Wanjiku. Chairperson, Regional Integration.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give a notice of motion on inspection visit to the semi-autonomous institution of East African Community and Central Corridor in Tanzania. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give a notice of the following motion that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Regional Integration on the inspection visit to the semi-autonomous institution of East African Community and the Central Corridor in the Republic of Tanzania, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 19th November 2024. I beg.
Thank you, Chairperson. Next. Clerk, skip order number 7. Call out order 8, 9, and 10. We put the questions before we go to 7.
Order number 8, procedural motion.
Yes.
Resolution to sit on other days.
What you do, call 9. Owen, hold for your boss is behind here, I think. Call 9, 10, and 11 first.
Order number 9, motion. Report of the Committee of the Whole House on Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2024. Question to be put and third reading.
Order, honorable members. Yusuf, take your seat. Haika, take your seat on the nearest seat. Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 9, which is that the report of the Committee of the Whole House on the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2024, be now read a third time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Yes, clerk. Okay. I now put the question on the same issue that I propose. Okay. Mover, is that KJ? Or was it Majority Leader? KJ?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you for the opportunity, and I would like to say a big thank you.
No. Just say, I beg to move that the Technopolis bill KJ, go ahead, Baba.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2024, be now read a third time. And I also want to request the Honorable Millie Mabona Odhiambo to second, because she was part of the process and part of the Committee of the Whole House.
Millie, give Millie the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second.
Thank you. I propose the question, which is that the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2024, be now read a third time. I put the question, and I do confirm that we have quorum in the House. I therefore put the question, which is that the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2024 be now read a third time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to establish the Technopolis Development Authority to provide a framework for development and management of technopolises and for connected purposes. Order number 10, the Cooperatives Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2024, second reading, question to be put.
Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 10, which is that the Cooperatives Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2024, be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Thank you. We go back to order number 8. Sorry.
A bill for an act of parliament to establish the office of the Commissioner for Cooperative Development at the national level of government and the office of the County Director for Cooperatives in each county government to provide for promotion, registration, and regulation of cooperatives, to provide for intergovernmental cooperative relations, and for connected purposes.
Thank you. Go back to order number 8, procedural motion.
Order number 8, procedural motion, resolution to sit on other days.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Orders 30B and C on hours of meeting, this House resolved to hold sittings on the following days for purposes of debate on the President's address and consideration of priority business ahead of the long recess. One, on Monday, 25th November 2024, commencing at 2:30 p.m. for the afternoon sitting and 6:45 p.m. for the evening sitting. 2, on Tuesday, the 26th November 2024, commencing at 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. 3, on Thursday, 28th November 2024, commencing at 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. 4, on Friday, 29th November 2024, commencing at 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. 5, on Monday, 2nd December 2024, commencing at 2:30 p.m. for the afternoon sitting. 6, on Tuesday, 3rd December 2024, commencing at 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. And 7, on Thursday, 5th December 2024, commencing at 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. Honorable Speaker, I don't think I need to explain the basis of that procedural motion since you had indicated to the House in your earlier communication, and as agreed and as directed by you and the House Business Committee this afternoon, I was to move this to allow us time first to consider the President's address. As members are aware, we have the State of the Nation address on Thursday, which will be a joint sitting. And in line with our standing orders, we have at least 4 sitting days to consider the State of the Nation address by His Excellency the President, and therefore to allow us time and allow as many members as possible to contribute, we want to have those extra sitting hours in the mornings of Tuesdays and Thursdays, the mornings of Fridays, except this Friday from next Friday, and the afternoons of Monday and Monday evening to allow us to be able to consider the State of the Nation address and a lot of pending and urgent business that is before us before we go on recess, Honorable Speaker, as you indicated, because we do hope, and as invited by Honorable Zamzam, that all of us, being the hosts of the Yala Games, on the 6th, we shall join the Speaker on the SGR at 6 a.m. Yes. The 6 a.m. SGR train to Mombasa, the Speaker will be on that train, and we expect that we shall all be able to join the Speaker to take on the 6th. So we want to make sure that first, we are able to conclude all the business that we have before us. As members are aware, we are going for the long recess and the Christmas break, and we want, by all means possible, to avoid to call members for a special sitting during that long recess, because this is the only time our very hardworking staff from the clerk's office and the entire secretariat of the National Assembly are able to take their break. Throughout the year, our staff are not able to take any other break except in December, and therefore we want to indulge them and not be able to call them back again for a special sitting so that we be able to conclude all the business. We also don't interrupt the Yala games. We want and expect, Honorable Speaker, as you indicated to us in the House Business Committee, that being the hosts, the 349 members of the National Assembly are expected to be in Mombasa. And as Honorable Zamzam has promised, she is ready with mahamri, na korosho, na madafu, etc. Honorable Speaker, I have not said what I hear the Honorable KJ saying from behind me. Mambo ya Fatuma mimi siyaelewi. With that, I beg to move, and I want to request the Leader of Minority, the Honorable Junet Mohammed, who is also a member of the House Business Committee, to second this procedural motion in agreement.
Mr. Speaker, I stand to second the procedural motion. But having seconded Mr. Speaker, I want to urge members to take it very serious, the address of the State of the Nation by the President. Mr. Speaker.
What is out of order, Millie? Yes, Millie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my concern is not Honorable Junet, my minority leader, but Honorable Toto is kneeling. I know that the member she's speaking to is a very honorable and much older member, but is she in order to be kneeling? Yeah, Honorable Sigay. I know it's an adult, but surely, Mr. Speaker. In this house, we are presumed to be all equal, so as much as it shows respect culturally, but it is not in order. Not in the house, no.
Order. Honorable Millie, if you go and read the Hansard, the last time the word kneeling was used in this house, a vice president lost his job. Josephat Njuguna Karanja. Do you want my comrade, Ambassador Sigay, to lose his job? Oh. Go on, Junet.
Mr. Speaker, I am told the Honorable Toto has just come back from Uganda, and she must have learned those
mannerisms
from Mr. Speaker, how to kneel before men. Mr. Speaker, and that is the way it should be, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
That's the way it should be. Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Donya.
That's on a light note, Mr. Speaker.
Donya. Order. Yes, Donya.
Mr. Speaker, you know this statement might be taken serious. When we go back home, our men demand for kneeling. You will be ruining our marriages, Mr. Speaker. It is men who should kneel before women, not women kneeling. In this 21st century, Mr. Speaker, we should not be told of what to do.
Order, Donya. Order, honorable members. Order. Honorable members. Jaka Wamboka, member for Bumula, can tell you that from the community where we come from, women kneeling for their men is an ordinary course of things in their houses. Go on, Jeanette. I am not talking of your community. Go on, Jeanette. Jeanette, go on. Order.
Mr. Speaker.
Order, Donya. Donya,
sit down.
You are getting disorderly. Take your seat.
Mr. Speaker.
I never talked of any other community. I talked of Wamboka's community.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, if I may move, Mr. Speaker, we are just giving tactics of how to spice the marriages, Mr. Speaker. We are not doing anything bad. How marriages can be better, and there are places where even men kneel, and men know, they can't say it in the camera, Mr. Speaker. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that we have to members must take the address of the nation by the president very serious, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, members should understand, should know better, because, Mr. Speaker, it's a constitutional requirement. It's not just any other event, Mr. Speaker. The president comes to Parliament and addresses the nation on issues that have been stipulated in the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Issues of national security, international obligations, the economy, and all kinds of things. And you will see at the end of his address, Mr. Speaker, he will hand over documents, set of documents to the Speaker. That tells you how important the address is, Mr. Speaker. And that is the reason why Parliament, as a National Assembly, has allocated 4 sittings to discuss and to talk about the address of the President, Mr. Speaker, of the nation. So, Mr. Speaker, it is a very serious constitutional obligation. It's not just like any other thing that the President comes here to talk to us, and it is one of the ways constitutionally that this House holds the President accountable. Because every year he comes here to tell us what he has achieved the last 1 year on those 4 areas, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, it is my wish to tell the members that let us take that address very serious. Let us attend in all our numbers so that we can listen to the President. And after that, use the 4 sittings that follow the address to dissect and talk and tell Kenyans what your thoughts are on the issues that the President has addressed the House on. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I second, Mr. Speaker.
I want to propose the question. Honorable Junet, Irene Mayako was very excited when you are talking about women kneeling before men. Honorable members, I now propose the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 30B and C, hours of meeting, this House resolves to hold sittings on the following days for purposes of debate on the President's address and consideration of priority business ahead of the long recess. On Monday, 25th November 2024, commencing at 2:30 p.m. for the afternoon sitting and 6:45 p.m. for the evening sitting. 2, on Tuesday, 26th November 2024, commencing at 9 a.m. for the morning sitting. On Thursday, 28th November 2024, commencing at 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. On Friday, 29th November 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. On Monday, 2nd December 2024, commencing at 2:30 p.m. for the morning sitting. For 2:30 p.m. for the afternoon sitting, On Tuesday, 3rd December 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting, and on Thursday, 5th December 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. I'll now put the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 30B and C, hours of meeting, this House resolves to hold sittings on the following days for purposes of debate on the President's address and consideration of priority business ahead of the long recess. 1, on Monday, 25th November 2024, commencing at 2:30 p.m. for the afternoon sitting and 6:45 p.m. for the evening sitting. 2, Tuesday, 26th November 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. 3, Thursday, 28th November 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. 4, Friday, 29th November 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. 5, Monday, 2nd December 2024, commencing 2:30 p.m. for the afternoon sitting. And 6, Tuesday, 3rd December 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. And finally, on Thursday, 5th December 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Member for Kisumu Central, Joshua Oron.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Department Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the delay in the operationalization of administrative units in Kisumu Central constituency. Honorable Speaker, on 21st July 2017, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration gazetted administrative units in 1,200 locations and 2,400 sub-locations. Among those gazetted were locations Kanyakwar and Nyalenda, and 4 sub-locations Obunga, Kanyakwar, Dunga, and Lower Milimani within Kisumu Central constituency. These areas designated as administrative units were intended to bring essential government services closer to the residents, enhance security, and facilitate efficient delivery of public services. However, nearly 8 years later, the units are yet to be operationalized, resulting in the residents traveling long distances to acquire essential government services. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Department Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. 1, a status report on the operationalization of the administrative units in Kanyakwar and Nyalenda locations, Obunga, Kanyakwar, Dunga, and Lower Milimani sub-locations, as per the gazettement of 21st July 2017, and 2, the measures put in place by the ministry to ensure these administrative units become fully operational, enabling the local population to access essential national government services conveniently and efficiently. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Tongoyo.
Honorable Speaker, I think I can able to give a response on maybe next week on Thursday.
Yes.
But Honorable Speaker, I don't think the CS will give any better response than probably the obvious one, that it has been always the issue of budget. And it is not just Kisumu.
Yes.
It is all over the country, Honorable
Bring
Speaker.
the response on Thursday next week.
Well guided, sir.
Okay. Ali Wario Guyo, member for Garsen.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I raise to request for a statement from Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning regarding the status of projects under the Equalization Fund in Garseni constituency and Tana River County. Honorable Speaker, the Equalization Fund, as established under Article 204 of the Constitution, was introduced to address the historical marginalization of certain regions by providing 0.5% of the national government annual revenue to fund essential services such as water, roads, health, and electricity. These services are intended to bring the level of public service in marginalized areas like Garseni constituency and Tana River County to par with the rest of the country. Honorable Speaker, a committee was identified to undertake the responsibility of selecting the most deserving projects for funding. This committee is chaired by the County Commissioner and includes the chairman and managers of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, NGCDF. Despite the efforts of the committee in identifying the critical projects, the implementation of these projects has not been carried out accordingly. Concerns have been arisen over issues such as tendering, public participation, and the overall transparency of the Process Disposal Act was 2. Clarification on whether the mode of advertisement for these projects or tenders was conducted in a transparent manner that allowed for the fair participation of the local contractors. Number 3, the extent to which public participation was conducted in identification, prioritization and implementation of these projects in line with the Article 10 of the Constitution. Number 4, a detailed update on the current status of all projects under the Equalization Fund in Garseni constituency and Tana River County, including the expected timelines for the completion. Number 5, an account on the total funding allocated to these projects under the Equalization Fund, detailing how much has been utilized so far and what balance remains. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Ario. Chair, Finance and Planning. Who is the Vice Chair? Naomi, can you communicate to the Chair, Finance, if possible, to bring a response before Thursday next week?
Honorable Speaker, I will, and I'm sure they will be able to bring by Friday, as you said.
Daniel Manduku, Nyaribari Masaba. Order members,
Honorable Speaker.
Order members who are standing in the walkway. Sabina Chege, you've just walked in and you are causing disorder. Order. Take your seat. Okay, go ahead, Manduku.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 44, 2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Roads and Infrastructure regarding the stalled Kenyanya, Sosera, Ekona, Ramasha, Suguta Junction Road in Nyariva Masaba constituency. Honorable Speaker, the construction of the said road was launched in the year 2018 and commenced shortly thereafter. Unfortunately, the project stalled in 2019 after the construction of only 2 kilometers of the total approved length of the said road. Additionally, the contractor had extracted maram from Sosera Primary School, leaving behind a large pit, which is now filled with stagnant water, and which has become a breeding ground for mosquitoes and is a safety risk to the people. and learners in the school. Result, the area has experienced a rise in malaria cases, and a tragic accident was experienced in the year 2020 when a child drowned in the hazardous pit. The incomplete road has also severely affected residents by disrupting access to essential services. Honorable Speaker, sir, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Roads and Transport on the following. 1, a report detailing the status of the Kenyanya, Sosera, Ekona, Ramasha, Sukuta Junction Road, the circumstances for stalling of works, and when the road will be completed. 2, measures being taken to address the safety concerns of the residents and students in Sosera Primary School regarding the hazardous pit. And 3, the relief measures that the government is putting in place to mitigate the health and safety risks posed by the stagnant water in Sosera Primary School. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairman, Transport. GK, is he here? Yes, Zaire. Are you able to bring a response?
Yes, Honorable Chair, I have the response.
On this issue?
Yes, I do.
Did you anticipate it?
Sorry?
He's just raised it now. How did you have? What you want to respond to has not come yet. So can you try and bring a response to Honorable Manduku before we break?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
We go to responses. Honorable Njeri Maina's statement. Ngokoyo? Yes, member for Moyale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On 18th October, I asked for a statement from the Departmental Chair of Internal Security and Administration.
DOU.
2 weeks down the line, because you gave instruction that they come back with the report in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Gogoyo,
it's almost 1 month,
sorry,
and there's no response.
Tongoyo, when you respond to Njeri, can you start by telling Professor when you respond to him? Tongoyo.
It's true that the Member of Parliament for Moyale did ask for a statement. And of course, yeah, it's true, 2 weeks down the line. I just want to beg for a little bit of patience because the ministry is still working on it. It's work in progress. And I promise to next week consider, to have the statement in this on the floor. Kindly.
Thank you. Go on now and respond to Njeri.
Honorable Speaker, the response on the statement being asked by the Member of Parliament for Kirinyaga, Honorable Jane Njeri Maina, I want to respond as follows. And maybe I want also to say that she was specifically wanted to know the status of investigation into the death of Derek Khashoggi and whether the police officers involved in the killing of Mr. Derek Khashoggi and the measure that the government has put in place to address the extrajudicial killing and the use of excessive force by the police officers. Honorable Speaker, on 19th, 2024, at around 1:30 p.m., police officers were on a patrol found at Bar 1 Club in Kiandai Shopping Center operating beyond stipulated operating hours. The officers condoned off the bar with a view of arresting revelers and the bar owners for contravening stringent measures put in place by the government to control sales and consumption of alcohol and drinks stipulated under the Alcoholic Drinks and Control Act 2010. When the officers entered the bar through a side gate, the revelers started to run away and some were jumping over the iron sheet perimeter fence and in the ensuing hour, and which commenced by recording statements from relevant witnesses and assembling relevant exhibits for prosecution purposes. Honorable Speaker, on the 10th June, same year, this year, her firearm, that is a firearm of the suspected police officer, and a spent cartridge were forwarded to the ballistic station at DCI National Forensic Laboratory for forensic analysis. And when the analysis is completed, the inquiry file will be forwarded to the office of the DPP. Honorable Speaker, on the third question, the government has put in place an adequate stringent laws and regulations for the lawful use of force and firearm as a police officers via Service Standing Order Cap 47 and the National Police Service Act 2010. The officers are under stringent instruction to restrain from use of excess force against members of the public and may only use firearm in justifiable instances such as for protecting the life of another person who is in danger or self-defense. And the service is also oversighted by IPOA. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, the government does not condone acts and contrary to the law and the Constitution. All acts which appear contrary to the law are investigated thoroughly and appropriate action taken against any officers found capable. IPOA also conducts investigation to ensure fairness and justice to the family. Further, the government has no policy on extrajudicial killing. However, the government is aware that there are isolated instances where the police officers are subjected to investigation to instances of murder where they are suspected to be involved. And in such circumstances, the law takes its course. Statement signed by then the CS Honorable Professor Kithure Kindiki. So it's true as from the statement that it was an accidental shooting where the gun released ammunition, and unfortunately the victim got shot. And I want really to condole with the family and ensure that the investigation is underway, and once it's completed, the appropriate action will be taken against the responsible officer. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Jerry.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Well, I thank the Honorable Chair for responding. I do take great exception that at paragraph 3, he says that a firearm discharged an ammunition. Firearms do not discharge themselves. They do not have any robotic capacity. Armed policemen who are supposed to guard the lives of Kenyans discharge weapons on unarmed and innocent Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, I happened to visit and condole with the family of the late Derek Gashoki, who was a young student waiting to join university this year. Honorable Speaker, I note that the firearm of the police officer and a spent cartridge purportedly, while it was sent on the 10th of June for an analysis and a ballistic report so that further investigations can be concluded and the file presented in court, the same has not been done, and therefore the officer is roaming freely while a young student who was waiting to join university lays dead and the grieving parents are waiting for justice. I am requesting for a follow-up update on the report within 30 days, because if surely it takes 5 months to investigate who shot a young student waiting to join university, then it could take forever, Honorable Speaker. I request an update on the same within 30 days so that I can go to the family, the grieving family in Kirinyaga County, and update them that their son will get justice, though he will not come back to life. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Speaker, I did, Honorable Speaker, acknowledge and admit that, of course, the shooting happened accidentally from the firearm of the police officer. And I want to just tell the honorable member, it does happen. That is an accidental shooting. A time when the pistols have been cocked, or whichever gun, and the safety pin is not been locked or engaged, the ammunition can discharge themselves. So it does happen. They are rare, but it does happen. So investigation is ongoing. Yes. And I've just mentioned the ballistic is ongoing, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, even though I've not trained in guns and shooting, but I also know the chair of internal security has no such a training.
and is taking it upon himself in this house and before cameras and Kenyans to explain how that happens and how it happened. Is it really in order? I think there should be a fair, more deliberate way, given that the life of a Kenyan young person was lost. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Indeed, there is what you call accidental discharge. It happens in any firearm, from a pistol to a machine gun, because the movement of that particular weapon, the trigger can easily pull the round forward and it discharges. So from experience, I can confirm what my chairman has said, that it happens.
Chair, I don't think any member of the chair is a ballistic reports expert, but I'm kindly requesting that after 30 days, I get a follow-up feedback from the chair whether the report is complete and has been forwarded to the DPP so that prosecution can start. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Tongoyo, did you say there's an inquest?
The issue of the gun that discharged the ammunition is truly belonged to the officer. And we say it was accidental. For majority of us who own the gun, when you have not engaged the safety pin, the ammunition can discharge. So what I've said is...
Order, Tongoyo.
Yes, sir.
Stop giving evidence on facts that you are not privy to.
Yes.
What you need to do in a situation like this, and I know many issues like this will come to you.
Yes.
Jerry herself as a lawyer knows that when a citizen loses life in circumstances like what you have described, the law requires an inquest to be carried out where the police will place material before a court of law and a magistrate will decide whether there is anybody culpable for the loss of life or not. Such an inquest will ordinarily result into either a closure of the file or a prosecution of anybody found culpable. Otherwise, from where you stand, you have no capacity to give evidence on how a gun discharged a bullet.
Yeah, I was just, on the same, Honorable Speaker, I think I was very clear that the ballistics section of the DCI and the forensic laboratory are still doing the forensic analysis. And once the analysis is completed, the inquiry file will be forwarded to the DPP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry. We'll leave it there. Marian Kaitang, Social Protection Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This is the response to a statement sought by the Honorable Member for Aldai constituency, Honorable Miriam Keitan, MP, who has sought response regarding disbursement of the Women Enterprise Fund. In her statement, Honorable Speaker, the questions raised by her were two. First, what is the rationale behind reducing the borrowing, especially considering the fund expanded resources and the fact that it is specifically targets women groups? And second, what measures are being put in place to ensure that the Women Enterprise Fund remain an effective tool for supporting Women Enterprise Fund? Honorable Speaker, I wish to respond like this. The fund introduced digital loan and saving product on the 1st of July 2023. The product targets a group of 10 to 30 women. The loan is offered through a digital platform by dialing a *254 hash. Upon compliance, then the term and condition, the turn around time is instant. The group can access the WEF group through two processes. One, you dial USSD *254 hash, select Women Enterprise Fund, and two, M-Pesa application, Grow tab, select Financial Inclusion, Mini App, under Development. During the pilot phase between 1st July 2023 and 16 September 2023, the fund disbursed 941,901,000 to 18,955 women group with shillings 257,464,445 being repaid as of 31st May 2024. Only first cycle of 50,000 was activated for the pilot phase to allow the fund to monitor the trend to inform rollout of the rest of the borrowing amount. From the trend, the loan demand under the digital is many times higher than the manual model, as evidenced by the near shillings 1 billion disbursed under the 2 months, putting extremely high pressure on the limited cash available for lending. This implies that with bigger loan limit, only a few groups will benefit and the resources are depleted. In policy, the fund has approved bigger loans limits, but introducing them will not enhance funding to the fund to sustain cash flow and continue service to the Women Enterprise Fund. Question number 2 was, what measures are being put in place to ensure that WEF remain an effective tool for supporting Women Enterprise Fund? The fund is implementing several measures, key among them, improving financial sustainability. Financial sustainability is crucial for any organization to continue offering services to its client. To achieve sustainability, the fund seeks to grow its value from 10 billion by ensuring efficient management of operation costs. 2, improving accessibility to loan by all Women Enterprise Fund, re-engineering loan delivery channels. The agenda of the government is to ensure an inclusive financial landscape, fundamental to this area initiative that enables inclusion of women in the financial services. The fund aims to expand financial access for 5 million Women Enterprise Fund in all parts of the country, riding on digital platform. Moreover, the fund aims at diversifying the product and services to serve a wider market. 3, enhancing financial and entrepreneurial skills for Women Enterprise Fund. One of the training for women SMEs facilitates the expansion and enhances profitability, productivity, and competitive advantage. The fund will enhance capacity for 515,000 Women Enterprise Fund and entrepreneurship, financial literacy, value addition, AGPO, and business counseling. The fund channel out different training services at various platforms. And 4, improving market access for women entrepreneurs. Some of the inventors critical in enabling market access, including domestic and international trade facilitation, coordination of linkage with major market players, and provision of commercial infrastructure, among others. The fund aims to improve market access for 1,500 women entrepreneurs through linkages, market facilitation, and decent workplace to support the women to achieve their market goals. The call to these measures, Honorable Speaker, are financial sustainability driven by high disbursement volumes and introduction of modest interest rate at 6% per annum, reducing balance. Operation efficiency propelled by digitization and digitalization, enhancing resources, improved productivity, and prudent financial management. Honorable Speaker, digitization is a process of converting analog data into digital form, where digitalization is the use of digital technologies to change a business. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. That is the response for Honorable Marianne Keitan.
Very well. Is the Honorable Marianne Keitan in the house? Yes, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have listened to the response from the chair of the committee, and I must say that I'm totally dissatisfied by the response. for 3 reasons, Chair. One is that I raised an issue about the rationale behind the reduction of the borrowing limits. And if we look at the Women Enterprise Fund, it was started in 2007. From the year 2007, Mr. Speaker, to last year, when this rationale was changed, the issue of limits was not an issue. And I don't know why they decided to reduce or to bring in limit reduction. And then they brought in things called cycles. So that, Honorable Speaker, has not responded to the issue of the rationale. Because if a system was working, why break what is already working? The other issue, Honorable Speaker, is that I wanted to find out about the method in which they are now giving out these funds, and they've gone digital. Much as I appreciate going digital, and much as we appreciate that we are now digital in nature, the issue we are talking about is about women. And I think the objects of why the Women Enterprise Fund was created need not be lost in the process of disbursing money. It was not just about money. Usually women meet, they talk about many other things, including even their own social affairs, as much as also they encourage each other to do business. And then after that, they can now disburse money. And the next time they meet, they look at how far have we gone with the monies we borrowed. But if we go digital and the way they have done the process of borrowing this money without considering the real objects of why a Women Enterprise Fund was created, then we lose the real object of this fund. It is not any different with a group or an individual going to a bank and borrowing money. The reason for our Women Enterprise Fund was more social in nature as opposed to the actual funding. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I'm totally dissatisfied with the responses they have given, and I would wish that perhaps this matter be taken further by the chair of the departmental committee, and even more, maybe the CS, so that we really understand, did they lose the object? Did we forget about why this enterprise fund was created in 2007 under legal notice number 127, or what happened? What changed? And if there was any change, none of those changes as to the objects have come to this National Assembly for ratification. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I've heard what my good friend Marianne Keitan has said. Honorable Speaker, as we speak today, we don't have a cabinet secretary in that ministry, but I can organize as a committee for a sitting with the principal secretary so that we can eye on this matter once and for all, because I can also say, as much as I'm reading this statement, even myself, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it, Honorable Speaker, because I also witnessed when the checks used to be given to women, they would borrow up to 1 million Kenya shillings, and they would repay back. But from what I have read, because this was the answer from the ministry, they can only give loans to up to 50,000. So we took the women backward. Rather than progressive, we just took them backward. So what I can say, we can have a sitting with the principal secretary so that we can go through this and we see whether it is achieving the intended purpose. Before, the women would borrow more than 500,000 headed to 1 million Kenya shillings. But right now, the amount, and even as they borrow, it goes through digitally.
What's your order, Honorable Chair? What's your point of order, Leader?
Honorable Speaker, it's very unfortunate that a chair of a committee, especially on the government side, majority side, can read a statement, present it as a factual statement on the floor of the House, and then after she's questioned, 1 minute she says she doesn't believe in it. The honorable thing is to expunge that report from the record of the House and withdraw it instead of actually reading a statement, giving information to the House, then backtrack, circle back and say, you know, I actually don't believe in it. I would request the Honorable Chair, who I have a lot of respect for, to actually request this House to expunge that report so that we get the right report. I think that will be the best procedure, other than to hold on to a report on record which you don't believe in, which you think is erroneous, and still give it to the member. So I would like to request the Honorable Chair, please withdraw the statement, expunge it from the record, and say that you will bring another one another time, other than the way we are going. It's not honorable at all. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Let me hear the Honorable Wanyonyi.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to agree with the Deputy Majority Leader. It's not fair. A statement being read from the government by a chairman of whatever committee, and you say before us, and the whole nation is actually seeing and listening to what you are saying. We are the representative of the people. To say that, you are not sure and you have no confidence in what you are reading, assures me she must distract that one from the record. It's not fair. It is not right.
Very well, we have heard you. Let me hear Honorable Undo. He was early.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Speaker, the last 2 weeks has been the weeks of telling the truth, and nothing else but the truth. To be honest, we are also experiencing the same challenges in our constituencies concerning Women Enterprise Fund. And the response the Chair has given has been underwhelming and probably off the mark completely, oblivious of the challenges that we are facing. And one of the absurdity we have in the current dispensation, where chairs are given written statements, they are obliged to come and read them here. And honestly speak, as much as want to interrogate the chair on the veracity or others of the statement, you are basically flogging a dead horse. Honorable Speaker, what I would suggest, what she has pointed out, why can they invite the honorable member who asked the question to the committee where the permanent secretary can appear so that there can be intense interrogation? Because honestly speaking, also even if I was the one, I would not have read the statement, and even if I told to read the statement, I would have clearly told I don't even believe in the statement. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Lastly, Dr. Nyikal, let's hear you on this.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sometimes I feel very bad. Things that were working are not working. I didn't get the question, but I've got the drift. Let me tell you what happened. Let the truth be told. The Women Enterprise Fund, when it was started, I actually was there at a very critical moment. It was to start it was run in 2 ways. One was to be given to groups that were actually formed by then the Ministry of Gender and Social Services and registered by the Ministry of Social Services. It was actually for that purpose. We created a certificate that registered these women so that they can get this fund. The other part of the fund was to be given for middle people like banks, who would then give it to individual women who wanted large amounts of money. With time, it turned out that the money that were given to banks and even cooperative organizations to be given to women, the interest was supposed to be 8%. But what the banks were doing, they were actually not giving the women this money. They were giving the women their own monies and keeping this money because they didn't want the women to benefit from the 8%. So that actually slowed down almost to a stop. The one for the women group actually flourished. The problem came this time when there was a decision that the system should be digitized. And Mr. Speaker, when they digitized, the digitization process was hurried. It was supposed to be a presidential order. So they digitized so quickly, so the women groups were formed digitally. The applications were digital. The disbursement was digital. They actually digitized, they actually disbursed a lot of money very quickly. I think almost $1 billion. When it came to repayment, what was realized that the repayment dropped from 86% when they were doing things manually to 26%. And then they went out to find out what had happened. What they found out was the groups were merely digital. They didn't exist. And that is why nobody was paying. So that money apparently was lost. And when actually the proper statement comes, we will want to know how much money was lost. In their response, they decided that because of that, they are stopping the issuance of Women Enterprise Fund because the digital system wasn't working and therefore they were losing money. So they actually stopped. So the women have not been getting money. We were told that now they have restarted, but from what we are getting from members, it has not started. So basically it was a hurried process that caused problems and therefore they stopped. But I do not know whether they have actually now corrected it so that the women can go back and get money. Mr. Speaker, this has been a fund that was very popular with women. You get one the first time if you get 100,000. The second time 200,000 if you pay the thing. By the time actually we stopped, there are women, at least even in my constituency, who had gone to 700,000 they were getting, and they were doing a good job. It is the hurried digitization that caused the problem.
Very well, Daktari, you have made your point and quite clear. I wanted to hear from
it is what is killing SHA also. We are not telling the truth.
Oh, the Daktari, you have made your point. But I can see the leader still has an interest in this. What is it, leader?
You know, Honorable Speaker, I believe that it is, I don't want to use the word I want to use, but it is not correct for us to discuss a statement which has been disowned by the presenter of the statement. You know, we are discussing a statement which the presenter has said, I don't believe in this statement.
Order.
So we are debating an erroneous statement. Honorable Speaker, the honorable thing is that this by the presenter of the statement. You know, we are discussing a statement which the presenter has said, I don't believe in this statement. So we are debating. Then after that, we can debate.
We had you, and courtesy of your earlier session, we gave a few members just to weigh in on that. I want to hear the chair. Before then, we can proceed with any ruling. But before we hear the chair, Millie, what is it?
Chair, really, from a procedural perspective, I think what has just happened is a bit interesting. And I think because we were with you in the House business earlier, you remember I was willing to move Honorable Kaluma's amendments that I disagree with on my bill. And the Speaker said we can't do that. In the same light, if a chair does not believe in what the minister is bringing, why would the chair bring it here? And the chair, other than that, so really maybe you need to, the Speaker may need to give guidance on that, where we don't agree with what the minister is bringing, because our role is also oversight. We are not just a conduit. So if a chair does not agree, don't bring it here. But chair, the other thing that I need to ask us as a country to introspect. I don't know whether we are bewitched or what's wrong with us. That everything that is working, we work very hard to destroy. The Women's Enterprise Fund was working well, we are working hard to destroy. NGCDF is one of the best funds in this country, especially in marginalized communities, rural communities. The first time I visited my rural home and saw a nice school was courtesy of NGCDF. Now the younger people don't realize it because they didn't see what the difference was. Mr. Speaker, why are we destroying the things that people come from other countries to emulate in Kenya? We are busy destroying and coming with other things that are not working. Can we rethink about such issues?
Very well, let's hear the chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I noticed the shortcoming, but I also want to tell the Deputy Majority Leader, I don't want to withdraw because my work as a chair is to transmit what comes from the ministry to the response of the honorable member. This is not a committee report that we interrogated, that when I come here, I cannot disown. Even me, when I read this statement, and I have said here that I'm going to invite the principal secretary and honorable member in the committee so that we can discuss this issue. But it is not fair and it is not in order for a deputy majority leader to tell me to withdraw because I'm a chair. I'm not the one who wrote this report. This report came from the ministry, and if it is not right, I cannot stand here to say it is right because it came from the ministry, and I don't also agree with it. I'm only reading what was transmitted to me. I'm only transmitting what chairs do from the ministry, but this is not a document that came from our committee.
Very well, I think we have heard from the chair, and I think we don't need to have more bites on this. Honorable members, the chair has come out clearly that he is also a member of parliament. And his main role is also to oversight. Indeed, you see that she could not commit herself on an issue she did not believe in. This challenge came to this House when we changed our own standing orders, so that the chairs are actually reading statements on behalf of CSS. I would then rule that what happens is that that particular matter be taken to that committee, invite the CS involved and the PS, invite the member who has asked the question, and have a candid discussion. If that will not work, proceed and move that question so that the particular CS is invited to this House to deal with that specific matter, which is of concern to not only all the members of parliament who are here, but to the many women who are very effectively using the Women Fund. And I think we can raise that matter there. Let's hear another response of a statement by the Honorable Wanjiku Muya. Do we have the Chair Transport and Infrastructure in the House? The Chair, yes.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I would like to, on behalf of the Chair of the Transport Committee, the Honorable G.K. Kariuki, would like to respond to the statement by Honorable Wanjiku Muya. Honorable Speaker, on Thursday, 17th October 2024, the member for Kipipiri, the Honorable Wanjiku Muya, CBS MP, requested for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding unmarked bumps along the flyover Njabini, Kipipiri, Olkalau, Nyahururu Road. Honorable Speaker, in the statement, the Honorable Wanjiku Muya, CBS, sought to establish, among other things, plans to ensure that all bumps erected along the flyover Njabini, Kipipiri, Olkalau, Nyahururu Road are clearly marked and proper signages provided. Actions be taken for the provision of proper signage and reflective markers along the flyover of Njabini, Kipipiri, Olkalau, Nyahururu Road, and a report on the exact timeline for marking the bumps and placing signage along the said road. Honorable Speaker, the committee received a response from the Ministry of Roads and Transport through the Clerk of the National Assembly on the 23rd October 2024, which I wish now to make. Honorable Speaker, with regards to plans to ensure that all bumps erected along the flyover Njabini, Kipipiri, Olkalau, Nyahururu Road are clearly marked and proper signages provided, I wish to state that all bumps on the road section of Magumu Njabini B110 road have already been marked and proper signages have already been installed. Furthermore, the section from Njabini to Olkalau B20 road is currently under the newly awarded maintenance contracts. The ministry has already identified a number of illegal bumps along the road and shall by mid-November address the unmarked bumps alongside removal of the illegal ones. Honorable Speaker, the section between Olkalau to Nyahururu A4 road has recently undergone surface dressing as part of the ongoing maintenance works scoped for the road. These works have been completed and the contractor is now in the process of marking the road, including all the speed bumps. Honorable Speaker, regarding the actions being taken for the provision of proper signage and reflective markers along the flyover Njambini, Kipipiri, Olkalau, and the Nyahururu road, as indicated in above, all signages on the road section, Mugumu, Njambini, B110 Red Road have already been installed. Honorable Speaker, the hybrid contract allows the contractor to maintain and replace any vandalized signages. Signages on the road section between Njambini and Olkalau, that's the B20 road, and between the Olkalau and Nyahururu road, that is the A4 road, are currently under installation and are expected to be completed by the end of November 2024. Honorable Speaker, concerning the report on the exact timelines for the marking, the bumps and placing signages along the said road, I would like to submit that all the outstanding works, marking of bumps and placing of the signage, will be completed by the end of November this year, 2024. Honorable Speaker, I now submit. Thank you.
The Honorable Wanjiku Muya.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and I wish to thank the Committee of Transport, confirming that over the weekend I traveled through that road, and it's true, the bumps that were very risky have been marked well, the signage has been put very well, but Honorable Speaker, on that statement, I didn't only mean the bumps that were being repaired, I meant all the bumps, so they have left two unpainted, which are very risky. And since the committee have reported that they will complete on 30th of November, I expect the two to be among the others, but they have left a very critical area called Jiret, which was the source of my statement because it has killed so many people. There is no bump, it has not been replaced, no signage, nothing has been marked. I also want to seek the intervention of the committee that by the end of that November, if they can consider that place, and I'm sure the residents of Jandarua will really be happy. Once more, I thank the committee.
Very well, this is a positive one, Chair. What will you be doing, Chair, about the section that has remained?
Honorable Speaker, we shall engage the ministry and we will request them to facilitate the same. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Now, the Honorable Adu, is it the Honorable Adu in the House? The Honorable Adu? Okay. Then let's proceed. There was a general statement by the Honorable Njeri Maina.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Zahir was trying to distract me, but I'm very focused on representing the Kenyan people and the people of Kirinyaga County. Honorable Speaker, I rise to issue a general statement regarding the rampant...
Yes, order, Honorable Kaji. What's your point of order? Order, Honorable Zahir. Completely out of order.
Yes.
Go back, go all the way, and have respect for the House. And then come back. And thank you, honorable members, for having noticed that. This is a house of order. Come all the way. Very well, you may proceed, Honorable Njeri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to issue a general statement regarding the rampant abductions and enforced disappearances of Kenyan youth in the country. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of the Standing Orders 43.1, I wish to make a general statement regarding the rampant abductions and enforced disappearance of Kenyan youth in the recent past. Honorable Speaker, the Kenyan Constitution recognizes human rights as inherent and inviolable. However, in recent months, there has been a disturbing increase in abductions, unlawful arrests, and disappearances, particularly affecting and targeting the youth. According to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, there have been over 60 reported cases of extrajudicial killings and over 71 cases of enforced disappearances. This includes a tragic incident during the protest on 25th June 2024, which resulted in several deaths and the abduction of at least 72 individuals. These incidences violate Article 26 of the Constitution on the right to life. Honorable Speaker, government agencies such as the Independent Police Oversight Authority, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, and the Inspector General of Police are tasked with preventing these injustices, but have been alarmingly slow to respond. These arbitrary arrests have also attracted concerns from the international community. Honorable Speaker, despite cordial interventions addressing the issues of enforced disappearances, the trend continues, threatening the stability of Kenya's democracy and the well-being of future generations. Urgent institutional reforms are necessary to ensure that the criminal justice system is responsive and adheres to the set constitutional parameters. As a signatory to the International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance, I urge that Kenya ratifies this convention in compliance with Article 26 of the Constitution to strengthen the national framework aimed at ending these inhumane practices. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
What's your point of order, Honorable Millie? Honorable Millie is not a point of order. Honorable Millie, what's your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm not too sure under what she read it, but I think I could raise an issue in relation to that, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to indicate, first of all, that I want to thank Honorable Njeri for that statement. And also just want to say, I know the Honorable Member is trying to distract her, but this is not the time for men to see young, beautiful women. You can see afterwards. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to inform Honorable Njeri that you are doing extremely well. Keep up on that path. You are doing well. You are a very young, visionary woman. You will do very well. You are doing very well. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, this is an issue that is beyond, all members of Parliament of goodwill should be concerned. Mr. Speaker, I've been concerned when I see the number of messages that you keep seeing of missing persons. Mr. Speaker, I do not know what is going on. I don't want to ascribe blame or whatever, but I think the government needs to take this seriously. There are very many missing persons, and I don't know what's going on. Every single day, I'm sharing, there are some which are young children that are eventually found, but there are adults that are missing, and we don't know what's happening that this is going on. And we need to, even if it means forming a commission of inquiry or whatever we need to do, there is a problem. There are enough people who are disappearing in this country, and we need to pay attention and take action.
Of course, this doesn't require discussion, but let me hear from the chair of Blue Economy, very briefly. This generally does not require us to go into debates because members, you have a chance to even bring a motion of adjournment. So let's
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I want to congratulate the Honorable Njeri for bringing that issue. And Honorable Speaker, besides what the Honorable Njeri have just raised on the issues of abductions in the country, Mr. Speaker, we need to look, and this should go into the Ministry of Interior, that we need to look into the security of this country. Mr. Speaker, some few weeks ago, an individual who is not even a Kenyan, but he acquired a Kenyan citizen, and we are yet to know how he acquired, came all the way from Ethiopia, that's what we were told, to Isli and killed almost 4 women. And the individual now has been identified that he's an Ethiopian, actually. How he acquired Kenyan citizenship, Mr. Speaker, it's questionable. Mr. Speaker, apart from that one, if you go to the pastoral areas where we come from, the insecurities in those areas, Mr. Speaker, is at an alarming stage. We need to look, even as we address this issue of abductions in the country, Mr. Speaker, we need to look at the general issues of security in the country, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Leader, what's your point of order?
Honorable Speaker, this was a general statement, but I hear a lot of reference to abductions. Even the member on the floor, the chair of our Water and Irrigation Committee is speaking about abductions. But from what I hear, the examples he's giving is the work of criminal elements, like the person is speaking about, and those are issues I thought the member and all of us should, even as we express our concerns on the rates of crime in the country, that we must be careful and cautious that we do not use the floor of this House to admonish our security agencies, not even to recognize the good work. For instance, it took less than a very few days, Honorable Speaker, from the time the Isli killings happened to the time the young lady unfortunately was killed in Kilimani, for the DCI to apprehend the suspect, and even for the member on the floor to get to know. Therefore, describing all these things as abductions, I know it is politically expedient and very good for the public gallery to be speaking about abductions. And there's a trend, Honorable Speaker, I must say so, that today in this country, even people who are legitimately arrested by policemen are booked into police cells, known police cells, are produced before courts of law. Those are being described as abductions. Probably we should, even as we engage, Honorable Speaker, be able to define what is an abduction. You saw the other case, Honorable Speaker, only this week or last week. A wife to somebody is in Nairobi, is also married to another man in Narok. The husband in Nairobi reports that the wife has been abducted. So I don't know whether that was an abduction or is a case of people stealing other people's wives. Now tomorrow, if the Honorable Bowen moves to Marakwet East with my wife, will I report my wife as having been abducted? Or do I say I've been unable to do certain things that the Honorable Bowen has managed to do? I mean, Honorable Speaker, I was only pointing out to say that we must be careful as leaders because we have a national platform. The adjectives we use to describe incidences. When a murderer murders people, that is a murderer. When someone is abducted by criminals and the police apprehend, at least let us have also the decency to congratulate, and I want to take this opportunity to congratulate DCI Amin and his team of security officers in the operations department, because they have moved with speed. When the Quorum killings were happening, Honorable Speaker, it took them less than a week to apprehend the suspect. But it took the police a very short time, the Kenya police, to allow that suspect to escape from lawful custody, Honorable Speaker. Those are the issues I would expect that as leaders we should be addressing. Commend our officers, when they do well, encourage them to do better, to apprehend suspects, but also avoid the temptation to brand every other criminal activity as an abduction. And I know there are also elements among us who want to make all these things look like they're abductions by the police. Missing persons, I appreciate what Millie Odhiambo has said, Honorable Millie Odhiambo, that there are even missing persons who just disappear now, also found. There are those who are arrested, and they say they were abducted. Criminals must be arrested, and they will be arrested, and they must be produced before courts of law, as happens in accordance with our Constitution, Honorable Speaker. So I just want to encourage Honorable Speaker, since this was a general statement, that even as we engage, let us be cautious. Let us not use this opportunity to play to the gallery, to speak to what you think is politically expedient and will excite people out there. Let us be responsible as leaders.
Very well, Leader. Honorable Wayne, just take the next 1 minute. I'll just give maybe one more comment here and one more here, and then we proceed because it's not a substantive motion.
Yes, Mr.
Wayne,
Speaker.
proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I said, and I want to be clear, I said even as our security officers addresses the issues of abductions in the country, I've said, Mr. Speaker, the issues of insecurity and banditry, they must be addressed equally. How comes that it took almost 2 days before you get someone who, that Ethiopian guy who killed 4 women, it took less than 2 days, Mr. Speaker, to be apprehended and arrested. But in Kerio Valley, where we have insecurities, it has taken ages. There is no criminal, there are no bandits which has been arraigned in court. Why is it that the government is not addressing that issue like the way it's addressing these issues of abduction?
Very well. Let's hear from the Honorable Fatma. Yes, Honorable Fatma.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Speaker. I want to thank the Honorable Member for bringing this. You said it's not a motion, but Speaker, you find some of these things really bothers us as leaders, as Kenyan citizens. And I want to give my condolences or my message to the people who are missing the loved ones. And I tell them it's just a matter of time that they'll find their loved ones. Mr. Speaker, the other day we found out someone who has been missing for 2 years came back. And we are hopeful that some of the persons we are still missing will come back. A case I have, Mr. Speaker, is an MCA from my county that has been missing for the past 2.5 months. Mr. Speaker, we agree that security agencies are doing a tremendous job in this country, and we applaud them for that. And we agree with them
Honorable, please make it short. We are not debating.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for that. But I am coming to this House again that we are still missing an MCA for 2.5 months. We have called the former Interior Minister, the recent, and the IG and many and the DCI, and we are yet to find the MCA. As we bring out this statement, Mr. Speaker, we also need to talk to the security agencies that some of these things needs to have a closure. Yes.
Very well. Chair Agriculture, we shall bring you in. Later, Chair Internal Security, and in fact, you should take your call.
Honourable Speaker, thank you very much.
2 minutes only.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to speak to this. Honourable Speaker, as a House of Records and a House that is supposed to defend the Kenyans, Honourable Speaker, I think we should be data-oriented. We should use facts. Any statement that comes, Honourable Speaker, should have verifiable data with names. Honourable Speaker, I come from a background where we have cattle wrestling. And in our records, we know how many people we have lost, how many people have actually died, how many animals have been stolen, how many animals have been recovered. We have all this data and it is verifiable. Honourable Speaker, when we make a statement in this House, we should not just be making blanket recommendations and statements for the sake of a political expediency. We need to be very careful what we say. If 60 people have died, do we have the names? Can we verify who these people are? The honorable member from Northeastern has just said that somebody got lost 2 years ago, and he just walked back home. So, Honorable Speaker, let's do sufficient investigation come with verifiable data to say that this is data backing my statement.
Very well.
Thank
the
you,
Honorable Farah, 1 minute, and then we finish with Tongoyo, who is the chair. It's not a motion.
Honorable Speaker, I'll also join my other colleagues to commend the DCI lately for acting that swift and bringing to book some criminals who did some horrendous things like the Kware and the Slim others. Mr. Speaker, there is no statute of limitation on crime. What I know myself, from 2014 until 2022, in excess of 1,200 Kenyans disappeared. And many of them just before there was a change of guard between the previous government of Uhuru and this government, their bodies stand up in Yala River and many other places. Mr. Speaker, I have personally cannot account for 8 relatives, some of them business people who nobody knows where they are. So there is need for us to go back all the way to 2014 and then create a kind of a commission of inquiry to ask the members of the families of anybody who's missing to come forth so that we can see whether we can put a closure to a lot of these things that have happened over the years. I'm not just focusing on what happened in the last couple of months. I know there are people who are obsessed with what happened in the last couple of months. I regret the way they happened. I want to assure the relatives of those families that we feel their pain, but let's go back to 2014 until today so that we have a way to deal with this and have a closure to all those people who have disappeared. Thank you, Mr.
Very well.
Speaker.
1 minute before chair. 1 minute. Give honorable member 1 minute. Yes, the honorable member on the floor already.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi nasimama kumuunga mkono Mheshimiwa Njeri juu ya hii, na mengi sana amesemwa hapa. Kama tukisikia Mheshimiwa Farah Maalim, watu 8 si watu kidogo katika familia moja, na watu wengi sana ambao wameweza kupotea. Serikali lazima ishughulikie mambo haya kwa sababu ni jukumu la serikali kutoa ulinzi kwa watu wake. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, nilivyosikia kwa makini sana, hivi sasa vile hatuna waziri wa usalama. Alivyoeleza Mheshimiwa Kimani Ichung'wah, ni roho yangu, mapendekezo yangu kuwa awe waziri wetu wa usalama siku zijazo. Asante, Mungu akubariki.
Chair, Internal Security.
And okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as I appreciate the big concern raised by Honorable Njeri about, of course, some Kenyans, missing Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, I want to really say here that it's true. We have been having some cases of missing persons in this country. And I want to go on record, Honorable Speaker, that just last week, the Committee of, say, Internal Security and Administration had a very extensive interaction, and actually with the IG and the entire internal security organ of this country, where we went, we went step by step about all the alleged missing persons. And Honorable Speaker, we should be able to appreciate. We should not just be quickly to really to accuse when probably something wrong happened, but forget to appreciate when our security officers does a exemplary good job. Honorable Speaker, of the listed persons who has been listed to have been missing, Honorable Speaker, the IG confirmed that they were able to recover more than 85% alive of these persons. So, Honorable Speaker, I was so much shocked even by the statement of Bowen here. When the Kenya Kwanza government took over, the issue of insecurity in the Kerio Valley, specifically even in his own area, was extremely so alarming. For the last 5 months, we had an extremely relative peace and calm in that area. even including the Tiati and Baringo. So, Honorable Speaker, what am I saying? I'm saying as much as we really feel the pain of Kenyans who possibly lost their loved one, we should be able to differentiate the issue of abduction and arrest. Those are different things. And even Jerry, you know, you're a lawyer.
Chair, make it short.
Which I just have to appreciate that possibly the Honorable Speaker and Jerry could be actually just also learning to practice opposition politics and taking the floor of this House for populist.
Chair, you didn't need to go that direction.
No, Honorable Speaker.
Order, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Speaker.
Chair.
Okay, fine, I'm finishing.
There's a point
Let
of
me
order.
finish.
Take your place. Give Honorable Njeri the microphone. I think she's revving to go.
Honorable Speaker, it is very insulting for the honorable member that I raise a statement on abductions which he himself has admitted to while issuing his response, and then he says that I am practicing the politics of opposition. I am simply defending Kenyans as I am mandated to do, as I took the oath of office when I was elected as a county MP for Kirinyaga. It is important for him to retract that statement. And even opposition politics, there is nothing bad about it, but he should not purport that the abductions and missing persons in this nation and reduce them to opposition politics.
Very well, we have heard you. No, let's hear the chair. We were winding up this matter, leader.
What I've said.
And the chair, no order, chair. There's really no need of name calling. You know what the standing orders are, especially when you mention other members' names. Give him the microphone and 1 minute.
Honorable Speaker, I want to be on record, Honorable Speaker, that we should be able also to appreciate the good work done by our security officers. Not just seeing when they do, because when the issue of Willis Vago, when it happened in Kisumu, I think Kisumu or Homa Bay, it took hardly 24 hours before the security officers apprehended the victims. When the issue of Uzalendo did happen, they were so swift and able to apprehend the victim, the suspect, Honorable Speaker. So what am I saying, Honorable Speaker? The Honorable Njeri, and I hope she's getting this, we should be able to differentiate abduction from arrest. Those are two different things altogether. Honorable Speaker, as I finish, I want to say this. I will appreciate, Honorable Speaker, when we raise the issue of missing person or abducted, we should be able to substantiate to the extent that we should provide the names, the date, the OB, because it's not just enough to say such a number of persons are reported missing or abducted, whichever you want to say. Provide names, OB number, and the police stations that the cases were reported to. Yeah, they should not use the floor of this House for other reasons, Honorable
That
Speaker.
should suffice, Chair.
Yes.
And we bring that matter to arrest. However, members, you really have a chance of bringing even a motion of adjournment, because this is a matter that I know is interesting every member, and we can have a whole hour or even more to speak on this. So, next order.
Order number 11, the County Government's Revenue Raising Process Bill, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2023, second reading.
Majority Leader, on order number 11.
This is my order paper. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the County Government Revenue Raising Process Bill, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2023, be now read a second time. Honorable Speaker, this bill gives effect to the provisions of Article 209, Sub-Article 5 of our Constitution. And as you know, Honorable Speaker, Article 209 of our Constitution delineates the respective functions of our two levels of government, both the national government and the county governments, on imposition of tax. And on one hand, Honorable Speaker, members are aware that the taxes like the income tax, VAT, customs duties, and other duties on import and export of goods, like even the miscellaneous levies and taxes that we impose here, through the finance bills of the House, these fall under the ambit of the national government, and that is why we legislate on the finance bill and other tax laws that impose taxation on Kenyans and other people who may be doing business or working in the country. The same article, Honorable Speaker, goes further to define the role of our county governments in terms of the kind of taxes that they may impose, such as property taxes, entertainment taxes, and other taxes that may be authorized to be imposed by county governments through an act of parliament. And these taxes, as imposed by the county government, must be done in a way that they do not jeopardize the national interest of a country. And indeed, Honorable Speaker, if you read Article 209(5) of our Constitution, it introduced that very important safeguard in light of taxation imposed by both levels of government, and answers a number of questions in relation to the imposition of taxes between the two levels of government. And some of the questions that Article 209, Article 5 answers are, one, could there be instances where, for instance, there might be a clash between or a disruption in the opposition of taxes between the two levels of government? And it is true that there could be instances where there is a clash on the imposition of taxes by the two levels of government. Two, how then do we secure our national interests so that a county does not jeopardize the entire country's greater interests in an attempt or in the endeavor to impose tax at the county level? Three, Honorable Speaker, the same article answers the question on how do we secure movement of goods, services, capital, labor within and across the counties within the sphere of the national space for trade without inhibiting international protocols and agreements intended to ease regional trade. And for instance, Honorable Speaker, this afternoon we are discussing the issue of enhancing, deepening, and tightening our regional integration. And part of the work in deepening and tightening our regional integration is issues around trade. And it could be possible, Honorable Speaker, that, for instance, the county government of Kajiado, that neighbors our neighboring country of Tanzania, or maybe the county government of Busia, imposes certain taxes that may inhibit either the movement of goods and services from a neighboring country within our regional bloc, trading bloc, or even inhibit trade. For instance, the city of Nairobi, the county government of Nairobi may impose taxes that inhibit the movement of goods or even labor and services between a county like Mombasa and a county as productive as the county of Nandi. The people of Nandi are growing their tea, both small-scale and large-scale farmers, but they cannot consume all that tea. They have to transport that tea through the counties of Nakuru, Uasin Gishu, Kiambu, Machakos, Makueni, Taita Taveta, before it gets to Mombasa for shipment, for them to get value, real value out of their tea. And all these county governments in between may impose certain taxes that may inhibit not just the movement of those goods and services, but also international or regional trade, Honorable Speaker. And that is what we are seeking to cure with this bill, Honorable Speaker. And indeed, if you read Article 205, Sub-Article 9, that article that I have drawn reference to, it says that the taxation and other revenue-raising powers of a county shall not, and the word is shall, not may, mandatory shall not be exercised in a way that prejudices national economic policies, economic activities across county boundaries, or the national mobility of goods, services, capital, or labor. And that is what, Honorable Speaker, I've just paraphrased in saying it is both national, regional, and even international mobility of both goods, services, capital, or even labor. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, it is in this background that this bill gives effect to the constitutional requirement of Article 209(5) of our Constitution by defining the manner in which the national government...
Leader, for just the records, that is Article 209.
Yes, 209 sub-Article 5. Sorry, I'm
very well
confusing 209(5) with 205(9). 209(5). and I was saying, Honorable Speaker, by defining the manner in which the national government, through the National Treasury, may exercise its policy oversight role. The bill further establishes a process whereby the county governments may exercise their taxation authority. Honorable Speaker, in the national government or through the National Treasury, exercising its policy oversight role is basically bringing into effect or giving life to the provisions of that article of our Constitution that the National Treasury has a duty and a mandate to ensure that not a single county government in the imposition of either a tax, a levy, or even miscellaneous fees will be imposed in a way that it jeopardizes the greater national economic policies, because the National Treasury has that overarching view or the bird's eye view of the country across all the 47 counties. And therefore, they have a supervisory or rather a regulatory role and a policy oversight role, which is what we are giving life to through this bill. Honorable Speaker, the bill further regulates the exercise by county governments of their power to impose taxes, levies, and duties by providing for the compliance by a proposed county government tax, fee, levy, or indeed even charges, as I said, miscellaneous charges, with the Constitution and the provisions of this bill, and to ensure that the county government proposals are dealt with in accordance with Article 6.2 of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, it's also important for this House, or rather to inform the House, that the bill does not set specific taxes that a county government may enact. As I have already pointed out, Article 209 of the Constitution is clear in terms of what taxes a county government may impose and what taxes the national government may impose. And therefore, this bill is not in any way trying to set the specific taxes that may be imposed by the county governments. And I think that is important, because I had heard when this bill was read for first time, and as a committee went for public participation, there were concerns that were raised that maybe the national government intends to impose certain levels of taxes that will be set by our county governments. That is already provided for in the Constitution. As I said in my opening remarks, Honorable Speaker, you know there is no county government that can impose VAT or income tax on anybody, but they can impose property taxes, Honorable Speaker, and that is already provided for in the Constitution, and we are not seeking to do that in this bill. Therefore, the bill is primarily concerned with regulating the process by which county government taxes will be imposed or can be imposed. Just the process, so that in exercising that oversight role, Honorable Speaker, that I mentioned, county governments also do not jeopardize our national interests, or indeed those other regional interests, because we are in the era of integration and regional integration, and it is possible, as I was using the case examples of the counties that border our regional neighbors, they may impose charges. For instance, as I said, people in Loitoktok who are importing tomatoes or onions from Tanzania, the county government of Kajiado, for instance, and I'm only using Kajiado as an example, may impose charges on onions or tomatoes coming from our neighboring country, and jeopardize that greater interest in having regional integration, because there's a lot of mobility of both labor, capital, and goods also from this country to our neighboring countries, and therefore must be able to safeguard all that. Honorable Speaker, if you look at Clause 2 of the bill, it provides for the definition of words that are used or expressions used in the bill in technical sense, and therefore members need not get confused as to the provisions of certain definitions as are used in the bill. Honorable Speaker, if you look at Clause 5 of the bill, it contains also provisions relating to waivers and variations. It states that a tax or a licensing fee, including a fine, a penalty, may not be varied except by legislation. It contains important checks and safeguards for waivers or variations of any tax or licensing fees, such as indicating reasons or policy objectives for the variation of waiver, the impact of the variation or waiver on revenue collection, and the likely economic impact of the variation or waiver. Honorable Speaker, you know, in the old Constitution, or under the old Constitution before 2010, the cabinet secretary in charge of the National Treasury could even waive taxes or levies or licensing fees. But under the new constitution, even the cabinet secretary lost that power. Indeed, it is only this house that, Honorable Speaker, clause 5 of this bill has those provisions that relate to waivers and variations. Again, to guard against abuse of processes, Honorable Speaker, because you may find chief officers, chief finance officers, county executive committee members, or even people in our national treasury varying and waiving fees and penalties and interest, Honorable Speaker. And that is why, Honorable Speaker, you find in one of the bills, without anticipating debate, Honorable Speaker, the tax procedures bill that is currently undergoing public participation after being read for a first time last week has a particular provision dealing with tax amnesty. Because, as I said, it is only through Parliament that you can even waive penalties or even interest on tax arrears owed to KRA or to other government agencies by members of the public. And indeed, I look forward, Honorable Speaker, to the second reading of that tax procedures bill when it comes up for debate. Because I know there are many, many Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, especially members of the public who did business with many of our county governments across the country, who are owed hundreds, in fact not hundreds, billions, tens of billions of shillings owed to business people across the country who cannot be paid, but KRA is on their necks, demanding taxes, imposing penalties and interest on what they are owed simply because they invoiced. And when they invoiced, they were supposed to pay taxes against those invoices, but those invoices are yet to be settled by government agencies or even the county governments, and therefore KRA continues to impose penalties over penalties, and it is those people, Honorable Speaker, that we seek to help through, as I said, Honorable Speaker, some of the provisions in the tax procedures and tax laws that will be coming before this House, as I said, without anticipating debate. Honorable Speaker, just trying to move quickly, Honorable Speaker, clause 8 of the bill contains a very critical provisions also for establishment and composition of the Interagency Transitional Committee by the Cabinet Secretary for the purpose of reviewing all fees and charges imposed by the county governments prior to the commencement of the Act. The bill proposes a 5-member committee consisting of representatives from the National Treasury, the Commission on Revenue Allocation, the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee, the Kenya Revenue and the Kenya Revenue Authority. The committee's role shall be to review the taxes, charges, and fees imposed by a concerned county. Again, Honorable Speaker, appreciating that Parliament may have delayed in enacting such legislation that would create this process that we are seeking to create in regulating how we impose taxes at both levels of government. It may happen, Honorable Speaker, as I was giving examples, that already there are county governments across the country that may have imposed certain levies, fees, taxes that may jeopardize our national interests. And therefore, to cure that, Honorable Speaker, for those that may have been imposed ahead of the enactment of this bill, we are saying that we will create an interagency transitional committee that will be appointed by the Cabinet Secretary, and we have representation from the agencies and institutions that I have mentioned, including the Intergovernmental Technical Relations Committee, to be able to review all those that had been done before to make sure that they align with the greater national goals and interests. Honorable Speaker, in summary, let me not belabor this point because this is a very self-explanatory bill. In summary, this bill is very important, and I want to urge all members to support it. I know it's a bill that concerns our county governments, and therefore it will be going to the other house. And I do expect that in the interest, the greater interest of both our counties and our national government, that even when this bill finds its way to the other house, they will be able to pass it so that we create that complementary role of the two levels of government, not only to impose taxes, but also to ensure that the taxes that are imposed at the national government level are not duplicated at the local level through imposition of taxes, levies, and fees by our county governments. Equally, Honorable Speaker, that if there are certain fees, levies, licenses that are being imposed at the local level, at the county level by our county governments, they are not duplicated when we pass our tax laws and our finance laws, so that we avoid the elements of double taxation. Honorable Speaker, as I said, in conclusion, this bill gives effect to Article 209(5) of our Constitution to ensure that the taxation and other revenue powers of a county shall not be exercised in a way that prejudices national economic policies, the economic activities across our regions, in the country and across our boundaries outside the country in our region, does not in any way inhibit the national mobility of goods, services, capital, or even labor. Honorable Speaker, it is possible for counties to impose fees that may limit how even people move. And you may find in some counties you lack laborers who may do certain chores, Honorable Speaker, that probably because of cultural reasons, people from one county are not able to do, but they may be able to, through labor mobility, to move people from other counties. But you may find counties imposing restrictions on how even people move. And therefore, we want to ensure that there is national mobility of labor, capital, because for all our counties to be able to prosper and grow, there must be mobility of capital, there must be mobility of goods and services, and also labor, Honorable Speaker. And that is why those of us who never believed in the politics of dividing our country, be it along regional, ethnic, or even our county boundaries, Honorable Speaker, because we believe that the people, for instance, of Kilifi, need the people of Kericho to feed them. The people of Kericho need the people of Kilifi probably to move their capital from the coast to go and invest in Kericho and grow food that can get back to feed their own people in Kilifi. And it is these issues that we are speaking to in this bill, Honorable Speaker, that we grow our country by allowing free mobility of both goods and services, capital and labor. That Kenyans from across all the corners of our country feel free to go and invest anywhere. Honorable Speaker, my last visit to Honorable Bensouda's county in Homa Bay, I was impressed by the beautiful beaches along the shores of Lake Victoria. And I was impressed that the people of Homa Bay are very aggressive in fishing. But I noticed there is a deficiency in tourist resorts along the beaches of Lake Victoria. And I imagined if these were the days when I had some money, I would have been a very good close friend of Honorable Bensouda to make sure she's able to give me part of her assets near the lake to invest in tourist class holiday resorts. Honorable Speaker, you know, I know I'm using the Honorable Bensouda because I know how passionate she is in attracting capital to Homa Bay County to be able to provide employment opportunities for her young men and women in Homa Bay. And I had an evening with the Honorable Bensouda and Governor Gladys Wanga after the investment conference in Homa Bay County. And these two gracious and great ladies from Homa Bay County, these gracious ladies, Honorable Speaker, in Homa Bay County are doing great things. Governor Gladys Wanga, besides growing her own source revenue, and probably many governors should first pass through the National Assembly and hopefully be able to chair the Finance and Planning Committee like Governor Wanga. Governor Wanga is a former chair of the Finance and Planning Committee and also a former women rep in Homa Bay County. But because of her experience in the National Assembly, especially as chair of the Finance and Planning Committee, she has been able to move her own source revenue by leaps and bounds in a period of less than 2 years, Honorable Speaker. And I must take this opportunity to commend Governor Wanga, because she's not only raising own source revenue in a way that jeopardizes our national interests, she is raising her own source revenue in a way that promotes national interests, encourages labor mobility, encourages capital mobility out of other places into Homa Bay County. And I thank God that she has the support of very great and gracious members of parliament from Homa Bay County, because I was also impressed that the leaders in Homa Bay County, and I'm using Homa Bay County because it touched my heart and my being when I saw the kind of cooperation that they exhibited during the Homa Bay Investors Conference that we all attended and was televised across the country, for other governors to see and learn that when you work with members of parliament, when you work with your women rep, when you work with your MCAs, it is only for the benefit of the people who voted for you as a governor. And I want to encourage all governors to work with their members of parliament. I know there are those who are interested in running for county government seats. Honorable Speaker, myself, I have said I will never want to run for any county government seat. Therefore, my governor can rest assured that I will never run. But please, don't fear. I know our governor fears the member for Thika, because she portends the potential to be another Gladys Wanga in Kiambu. But I have also said, without lying, Honorable Speaker, that I believe in the power of women leaders. Because our women leaders, Honorable Speaker, are doing great things as governors. Not just Governor Wanga. If you look at my party chair, Governor Cecily Mbarire, she is doing great things in Embu, even with sabotage from a few of us, or one or two of us. It may not be everybody, Honorable Speaker, and we don't have that latitude. I'm not here on a praise and worship session for governors, but I want to encourage them, let them work with other leaders, with their county assembly members, even as we actualize the provisions of this bill, Honorable Speaker, the county government revenue raising process bill, that they may use it to encourage not just the cooperation of other leaders, but the cooperation of their neighboring counties and other counties. I look forward to the day, Honorable Speaker, in this country, the governor of Wajir, the governor of Marsabit will be working with the governor of Kiambu, the governor for Nyeri, the governor for Kericho, to make sure that those things that are not available in their counties, they are able to exchange, and there is that free mobility of labor, of capital, so that even those of us who come from crowded counties like Kiambu and Kisii, and Nyamira, for instance, where Honorable Irene Mayaka comes from, that the people of Nyamira, the people of Kiambu will feel free to go and invest in Marsabit, to go and invest in Turkana County or Wajir. And indeed, the people of Wajir, and I must commend our brothers and sisters from the far north, they're investing all over across the country. That is the kind of country we all yearn for. And I want to pray that with this, the enactment of this bill, with your support, honorable members, and with the support of honorable senators, we shall be able to create better revenue-raising measures for our county governments, revenue-raising measures that don't jeopardize our national interests, that encourage not just inter-county trade and inter-county mobility of both capital and labor, but also promote business, promote trade, and promote the prosperity of all our counties and our nation at large. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move, and I want to request my very able deputy. And Honorable Speaker, when I say my very able deputy, the Honorable Member for Kilifi North, the Honorable Owen Bayer, I mean it, my very able deputy, a deputy who cannot even be impeached.
Very well.
Because he's very able. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move.
Honorable Watch, just for the record, I know you are first on the list here, but Majority Leader was within his time. And possibly he has just demonstrated how a bill should be moved. Not a situation whereby you have a bill and you just do it in two statements and you sit down. Proceed, Deputy Majority.
Honorable Speaker, I thank you, and from the onset, I second this bill. Honorable Speaker, the first thing I want to say is this is very on time bill, because if we have a bill like this, then it regulates and gives really power on what to do in terms of revenue-raising measures. Honorable Speaker, this bill gives effect to the constitutional article number 209(5). And this article, Honorable Speaker, defines the manner in which the national government, through the National Treasury, may exercise its policy oversight role. Policy oversight role. And it establishes the processes where the county governments may exercise their taxation authority. You know, there has been this idea that, national government may not oversight county governments. It is only the Senate that can do that. But when it comes to money matters, the money bill, the National Assembly has the power to exercise oversight authority and policy on county governments. And that is aptly done by this bill, Honorable Speaker. Because you see, Senate thinks it has an exclusive mandate to oversight the county governments. But this bill, Honorable Speaker, actually defines that the national government, the National Assembly actually has an oversight role in terms of policy on revenue-raising measures, and it establishes the process whereby the county governments may exercise taxation, because taxation is a money matter, and money matters have their residence in this house. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, this bill further regulates the exercises by county governments of their power to impose taxes, levies, and duties. If you look at this bill, Honorable Speaker, it does that. It regulates the exercise by county government of their power to impose. They have power to impose taxes, revenues, levies. County governments have power to do that. But then as a house, this National Assembly, Honorable Speaker, can regulate the exercise, and it has power to do that. Honorable Speaker, why am I saying this is a very important bill? This is a very important bill, and I'll give you a very good example, Honorable Speaker and members. There's a time the President chaired the Port Users Association meeting in Mombasa Port. Port users, all those people that use the ports in Mombasa. And I had the privilege, Honorable Speaker, to be in that meeting. And I think Honorable Badi was in that meeting. And I think Honorable Ichungwa too was in that meeting. But port users, the business people, even across Uganda and Rwanda and other countries, were saying that if you move a container from the port, it is in Mombasa County. So when it is leaving, Mombasa County will charge a levy. When it gets to Taita, Taita County will charge a levy. When you get to Kajiado, Kajiado will charge a levy. By the time it is crossing in Uganda, the trader has lost so much such that it defeats the purpose of having a port in the country, because there is no regulation on how to do it. And each county decides how much. And it was said that the Mombasa port had become too expensive to use. They'd rather shift to Dar es Salaam. And other ports in the region are not Mombasa, because counties were charging a lot of money. And if you have that container passing like 10 counties, then you have a problem. Honorable Speaker, I like the way Honorable Ichungwa put it. Sometimes counties can put levies in such a way they can jeopardize a country's progress. And Honorable Speaker, I want you to hear me on this. The housing is very important. Construction industry is very important. But you see, these raw materials that are used for housing come from certain counties. And if these counties just charge levies, they may make the building industry very expensive. For example, my county of Kilifi is known for having shellac and the material for making cement and clinker and all that. Now, if this county government charges high levies on clinker, charges high on shellac and on quarry dust and all those things, Honorable Speaker, so what happens to the price of cement in this country? The price of cement in this country goes up. When it goes up...
Or sand from Ukambani.
Yes, or sand from Ukambani. So what happens to the construction industry when we want to grow it in this country? So it makes housing very expensive for you to construct. It even increases, because of demand for loans. Then you can even see that the interest rate of a country will go up just because counties are levying high charges. But this bill, Honorable Speaker, gives us the opportunity to regulate what counties are doing. We are not stopping counties from doing it, but we are saying, counties, please, as you're charging these levies, understand that you also have a national duty, not just a county duty, but a national duty to anchor the economy of the country very well by ensuring that the levies that you are levying are very good. Honorable Speaker, I'll give you another example. Counties, Honorable Speaker, charge levies on hotels, bed occupancies in hotels. They charge that. But you see, Honorable Speaker, it can make it very expensive for tourism to grow in a country. Because people will check, okay, I want to invest in the hotel industry, but a county is charging me this much, apart from the levies that are charged by the national government. And therefore, an investor may not want to invest in the country because of heavy levies and charges from a county. Honorable Speaker, I want you to look at land rates. Land rates, they are determined by counties. So if we impose high land rates on plots, on property, on land, or we make all properties in a county rateable, if I'm an investor, I will not want to invest in the country because, especially at the cost, because land is expensive because of the rates that are being charged. But who is regulating this to ensure that we do not make investing in this country very expensive, Honorable Speaker? And that's why this bill is important, Honorable Speaker. That's why we need to vote in this bill, pass this bill, have it assented so that we can ensure that this country grows and that counties do not inhibit the growth of counties. Honorable Speaker, I was talking about bed occupancy in hotels. A tourist comes, he's charged levies, he pays for his bed, and then he's told, here, you have to pay county rates. And the tourist says, wait a minute, supposing I went to Zanzibar, would I pay the same? So, next time, and we're having this as a problem in this country. We do not have repeat visitors. We do not have repeat guests. So it makes marketing very expensive because the rates that are charged in hotels now are very high. For example, you have a county charging garbage collection for one small hotel, 25,000 a month. Garbage only, garbage, a small hotel. And it has been passed by the county assembly in their finance bill. So a small hotel is charged 25,000. That same hotel plays music. The county charges money for music. Noise pollution and all that, it charges that. The same county charges for license, trade license, called trade license. It charges trade license. Then it charges public health license. I hope you understand me, Honorable Speaker. So when you put all these levies, Irene Mayaka wants me to address her. So if you put all these levies together, it makes it very expensive for you to operate that outfit because it's not regulated. And if we must look at ease of doing business in a country, ease of doing business, Honorable Speaker, which Kenya is ranked, as one of those countries that is improving in terms of ease of doing business in the country. One shop, it's called one-stop shop. You pay all levies and taxes. Even the issue of tax administration itself, levy administration itself, becomes very expensive if it is not regulated. Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, this is a very important piece of legislation that we must hasten to make this country a country that has good index in terms of ease of doing business, so that countries do not levy and continue to levy and continue to levy.
You are excitingly supporting this bill, so Kenyans are following. So how is the bill moderating, regulating?
So Honorable Speaker, If you go into this bill, Honorable Speaker, what it does, the bill provides for the definition of words or expressions used in the bill. That is one. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the bill, Honorable Speaker, I don't want to go into the clauses of the bill, but this bill makes it possible to harmonize taxes. It makes it possible to exercise Article 209(5) of the Constitution to ensure that we have a seamless way of taxation, both at the national government and at the county level. Honorable Speaker, I second this bill and I also support it. And I think it is high time we pass this bill to make Kenya a good investment destination, to make Kenya a destination that many people would want to do business here, including port users. Don't get frustrated because of the many levies that counties are imposing.
Put him on record to second.
I second it, Honorable. I second, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Honorable members, I now propose the question that the county government's revenue raising process bill, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2023, be now read a second time. The first bite goes to the Honorable Anthony Luoch.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I want to begin from the question that you asked the Deputy Majority Leader on what specific aspects of this bill the public would be interested to know would enhance the principles of taxation and the principle of finances set out under the chapter on finances. And Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to start by picking out two issues. First of all, is the role that it has delineated in terms of marking the delineation of the authority and jurisdictions of both the national government and the county government in respect of the duty to collect taxes. This is important because between the two levels of government, this bill therefore then puts a marker on the ground by saying that the primary duty for imposition of taxes, to levy taxes, lays with the national government. What it does is to delegate to the county government the role to levy taxes and puts limitations. And this has been clearly put, Honorable Speaker and members, under Clause 4. And it puts an overall oversight caveat that the county government shall, within 10 months of imposition or levying of taxes or putting proposals for collection of taxes, submit to the National Treasury or the Commission, and in this case, I would like to imagine that this is the Kenya Revenue Authority, the proposals that it intends to use for collection of taxes, levies, or fees. Honorable Speaker, one important point under Clause 4 that is very, very crucial, that these proposals will have to specify certain things that are key to prudent use of financial resources set out under Article 210 up to 200 up to 210. One of those is that there must be particulars of the authority under the county government that is going to collect tax. Why is this important? It is important that we know what mechanism or entity or organ is entrusted to collect tax. You have a situation in which county governments will engage private companies to collect fees for them, fees which we do not know how, to what extent, how much, and how they are remitted. It actually says here that other than specifying who is the collecting entity, the method likely to be used in enforcing compliance, the compliance burden on taxpayers, and more importantly, what is the impact on individuals and businesses. One of the things that must come out clearly in this bill, and which I think we should propose in terms of the third reading, is what we find under Article 201 of the Constitution up to 209, that the benefits of taxation must be shared equally. so that as we delegate the power to collect taxes to the county government, it cannot be that the people who voted or didn't vote for or did not support a current county government will suffer under development arising out of taxation that everybody, without exception, is required to share the burden of. So the benefits and distribution of the county government levies and fees that are collected must percolate down to the every corner of the world. One of the key tenets of our constitution, and especially Article 118, is a requirement to consult, seek views, and have public participation. Right now, the National Assembly is embarking on an amendment to our finance bill, and it is important to note that very, very extensive public participation is required to be conducted. So it will behoove our county governments to ensure that even as they collect views which they will submit to the Kenya Revenue Authority and the National Treasury on the fees that they will levy, the people must be consulted on what are these fees, to what extent, what are the impact, and what are the pitfalls that are likely to come as a result of the imposition of these fees. One other clause that I found very interesting also is a provision under Clause 5 on waiver and variations. The caveat in this is what needs to interest us. Under the collection of taxes, one of the things that we have come to deal with in this parliament, whether it was waiver of importation of sugar, importation of this, or importation of fertilizer, is the arbitrariness in which...
What's your point of order, the Honourable Member for Bumola?
Mr. Speaker, this is a house of rules, and we have protocols that guide how we dress. Is the MP for Funyula properly dressed to be in this house? He looks like a village circumciser from Western Kenya. Honorable Speaker, I want you to rule him out, to find him out of order, because that is not proper dressing. He is in a combat trouser as if he's going for war. And look at his shirt, Honorable Speaker. There is nobody, he's making some people get scared here. He's looking like a circumciser. And you know what that means, Honorable Speaker?
Honourable Member for Bumola, I am looking at the MP for Funyula from where I am, and I can see the only unique thing about him is that he's dressed in the famous KANU shirt, and I think he's joining the KANU party. The rest of what you are saying, if that's how circumcisers look like, then they are not that dangerous. Proceed, Honourable Luoch.
Honorable Speaker, I was on Clause 5 on waivers and variations, and I was bringing to the attention of this House how notoriously the power to issue waivers has been misused, especially on questions of importation. This bill says that whenever it is that the county government is going to embark on issuing any waivers or giving variations on licenses, it must indicate, one, the reasons for the variation, the economic impact of these variations, and a record must be put into place so that there is a public record what were the justifications as to why the waivers and the variations were imposed. It must not be that variations are used to take away what essentially would otherwise have been revenue that is accruing to the county government and then ending up in the pockets of rich business people, which eventually will find themselves into the pockets of county government officials. Honorable Speaker, the last point that I wanted to say is that one of the things that is important about this bill is to guard against what you call the principle of double taxation. Honorable Speaker, the principle of double taxation has been defined as the levying of tax by two jurisdictions on the same income, persons, or financial transactions. This is important, Honorable Speaker, on the first point that I made, that there must be an oversight entity between the national government and the county government. The reason why we must guard against double taxation is also so that to avoid the inhibition of people who want to enter into business, whether they are people who are startup, young people, or foreigners who want to enter our jurisdiction and therefore would be stopped from coming into the country to invest because of double taxation. Honorable Speaker, this is an otherwise good bill. The final point that I want to make is that in the laws that we have under Article 94.5, 94.5 says that nobody or entity has the power to make law other than Parliament. This then means that even the county governments, whatever it is they do in terms of variations, in terms of waivers of fees, these must find themselves into the Assembly or the National Assembly so that we have an opportunity to put our stamp on authority on these before they become law. Otherwise, I support. Thank you.
The Honorable Mishi Mboko.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support this bill, the County Government Revenue Raising Process Bill 2023. Honorable Speaker, this bill tends to give effect to Article 2095 of our Constitution, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, my justification to support this bill lies on 5 points. My point number 1, Honorable Speaker, it is on the issue of standardization and transparency in revenue collection. Honorable Speaker, this bill tends to introduce a standardized process for all the county government, that is the 47 county government, in terms of to impose, vary or waive taxes, fees, levies and other charges, Honorable Speaker. By doing so, Honorable Speaker, we will ensure consistency and transparency across all the 47 counties, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when I look at this bill on clause 5 of the bill, it outlines a clear procedure for introducing new taxes or fees, whereby it states the county needs to submit a detailed proposal to interagency committee. The interagency committee is going to be established through this bill, and it's going to have some representative from the national and the county bodies. So it means there'll be some consultation even before we make the final decisions in terms of the taxes, the fees, levies, and other charges. There'll be some consultation so that we ensure we don't jeopardize the national policies, or rather the national policies in terms of economic activities, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my point number 2, it is in terms of enhancing oversight through the interagency committee. Honorable Speaker, clause 4, I'm reading here clause 4, it says that it is going to establish interagency committee on county taxes and charges. And as I said previously, it's going to have some membership as representative from both the national and county bodies, Honorable Speaker. This committee is going to review and it's also going to approve all fees and charges imposed by the county government to ensure that they are fair, they are justified, and also they are in line in national economic policies and more so in national economic activities, Honorable Speaker. By doing so, Honorable Speaker, we'll also avoid duplication in terms of taxation. In doing so, Honorable Speaker, we'll also assist Kenyans not to be burdened by taxes which are unrealistic, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my 3rd point, it is on the issue of improved economic impact assessment, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this bill mandates the county government to do a thorough assessment in terms of economic impact on the issue of revenue collection and the processes, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, if I look on clause 5.2e, which require counties to provide details on estimated revenue to be collected, the economic impact on individual, we need to know how does it impact on the individual, how does it impact on the businesses, how does it impact on the national, in terms of the economic in the national level, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this will also lead to informed decision-making and help to prevent the implementation of counter-productive revenue measures. We have seen some counties are putting some measures in terms of revenue collection, but at the end, the result is negative, or at the end, the result is not favorable. So it's like there is sort of a component of regulation to ensure that any measures we are putting, we are sure that these are the correct measures which they are going to give a very productive results. Honorable Speaker, my other point is alignment with constitutional and legal framework. As you know, Honorable Speaker, this country is being governed by the rule of law. We have the Constitution and we have other related laws. And today, if you're going to have some processes which go against our Constitution, or rather other related laws, then Kenyans are very much enlightened. Anybody will just start some litigations to ensure that everything is complied as per by the Constitution and the rule of law, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my last point which I want to say about this bill, it is addressing current challenges in county revenue collection, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as we know that we have different challenges in our county government in terms of revenue collection, or rather raising the revenue. And one is weak revenue administration structures. Do we have the correct structures? Are the structures effective? Are the structures follow the rule of law? Are they following the Constitution? Are they following the related laws, Honorable Speaker? And most of the counties, you'll see that the structures are just there. All structures from the terms of municipality until today. And when you look at that, it is not effective, and the revenue which are being raised are not maybe what is being targeted, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, furthermore, it supports the implementation of the national policy to support enhancement of county government own source of revenue, because we need to know what kind of resources do we have as a county. You cannot put a target that this is what I'm going to collect, and yet the resources you have, they are limited. Or rather, maybe the resources you have, they don't generate the income we are anticipating. So whenever we are putting a target, we need to be very optimistic that these are the targets we are putting, and again, we have the resources available which can generate this kind of income, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this bill will also assist in avoiding a lot of corruption and the loopholes and the gaps in terms of collection, raising, imposing the taxes, the levies, the charges. And we also ensure that as Kenyans, they're not going to be burdened. Just a day, maybe a county government will just woke up in a day and say, today we are raising this kind of a levy, or we are raising this kind of a charge, without any proper procedure, without any good public participation, so that Kenyans can be aware what is happening, and then they prepare themselves to pay that increment in terms of the levy, charges, or the taxes. I support this bill, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Bernard Kitur, Nandi Hills.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, to give me the opportunity to contribute on this very important bill, on the revenue raising process bill of the county government. First of all, Mr. Speaker, this is a very timely bill in that it breathes life to Article 209, continues to build on it, on how the county governments can, working with the national government on revenue raising measures. In the onset, Mr. Speaker, Article 209 speaks to the aspect of national economic policies when any levy is being levied, that the county governments must have taxes that allow for national mobility of goods, services, and capital or labor, as well as having equity across the country. Mr. Speaker, when I mentioned that this bill is timely, is because we've witnessed several times where various counties do impose levies and taxes for goods and services that makes business very expensive. If you are moving, for instance, from Mombasa to Nairobi, or when you have businesses like of branding of your vehicles, when your vehicle goes from Nairobi to the next county, they are told that you are being levied, or you are being taxed, or you are being charged for having, say,